Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our second Biz'ee chat of the day. This time I'm joined by the fabulous Jelly Jade. Jade is based in Romford in Essex, and she is an awesome children's entertainer and also a content strategist. So we're going to find out more about Jade today. If you are watching this live, please do give StreamYard permission to leave your name so we'll be able to see any comments. Any questions you might have for Jade, I will ask her during the course of the session. If you are watching on replay, please do hashtag replay and feel free to still ask Jade any questions you may have, and she'll be picking up any messages either on Facebook, or I can send them to her if they're on YouTube, and she'll answer them then. So hello and welcome, Jade. How are you?
I'm all right. Thanks for having me.
Good. So when did you start your business as a party entertainer?
So the entertainment business started in 2012, literally 1 month after I had my second child.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I must be mad. I don't know. Maybe it was hormones. I don't know. But I just remember when I was pregnant with him, I remember sitting in the garden in the summer, like heavily pregnant, feet up, they were swollen. And I was reading like this book about party planning. I just knew that I wanted to go down that route somehow. But it all sort of, I never sort of sat and planned it and went, right, I'm going to set this up as a business. My eldest was at school and some of the parents wanted like a DJ, and at the time my husband was DJing, and I was like, well, I'll come along and do some entertainment. And then I was really rubbish, by the way, when I look back, as we all probably are when we first start out. And then I just tried to face paint as well, because I did have a background of, I say a background of face painting at McDonald's. It's not much of a background, but when I was like party host at McDonald's, they wanted me to face paint, and I was like, well, I've done it before, I can do it again. So I trialed that at a local school, and then everything just went a little bit crazy from there. Yeah, and I'm still here 9 years later.
So it's always been in your blood to be an entertainer. You just didn't take the leap then until you had your little one.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, it's probably cliche that, you know, when you have your kids, it kind of throws a lot into the mix, doesn't it? Like, what do we do? Do we go back to work or do we stay at home? And I'm the sort of mum that kind of wants to do both. I want to be a mum, but I also, like, I'm not just a mum. I want to be other things. So yeah, it was always in my blood. My dad was a DJ for 40 years, so the entertainment was in me. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I was quite lost for a few years. I did work at a nursery, so I knew I was good with children, but I didn't want to work for everybody else. I wanted complete control. Bit of a control freak. So I was just like, and also I don't mind making a bit of a tit of myself. So it was kind of combining the two and providing this service for most of Essex, basically.
So where is the furthest you actually entertain then?
I probably go as far as I have actually done. I think it's Thundersley. Is that past Southend? I think. That's a little bit too far, but I do it. And then the other end of the scale, I go as far as London. Probably no further than maybe the Docklands or Canary Wharf. But that's a massive scale of like Essex to London. Like it's so big. But as I found out sort of yesterday, I did a party in Rayleigh, and then I had to get back to Epping, and I think I underestimated the time it would take to do that. So it's kind of about managing the area and how far I can go realistically.
Definitely. So what made you choose the business that you're in now? Is it just because you obviously had your child and you was looking into it, or?
I would say I think I'm just a big kid, and I just love being that child again. Like I'm prancing about, I'm playing games with other children, like like-minded minds, and seeing their faces, you know, laughing at me or with me. And, you know, that to me brings so much joy that I just want to keep doing that. I kind of found my calling, I suppose. And I was like, actually, I'm quite good at this, you know, and then I'm quite artistic as well. So I wasn't going to be Jelly Jade. It's not like I woke up one day and had a name and I was like, you know, this is me and my brand. It was actually the face painting side of things that I was going to pursue further, but that does only take you so far. So I kind of got this nice balance now of doing both, and just seeing those happy faces and getting those good reviews, and it's all part of like that, you know, it makes you feel good, doesn't it?
So do you prefer working with children or adults?
Children. Obviously I've got to interact with the parents when they book it, you know, and that's fine. But then when I get to the party, I'm like, it's not about you. It's kind of about your children. You know, it is about taking that stress away from the parent, of course. It's about saying that you know, they've got 30 kids in their home or in a hall, wherever it might be, and they're freaking out. You know, what am I doing with 30 screaming children? And I come along and I'm like, oh, it's easy, it's fine. In fact, I actually prefer their 30 children than my own 2. Which I know. Are they? But I come home and they want to play with me and I'm like, nah, but 30 kids, I'm like, yeah, fine. So it's about helping the parent, but putting those smiles on those faces and making memories. It's all part of my morals and my values in life of taking. You don't want to remember your party for how stressful it was. You know, the running around, the food, the venue, the decorations, you know, all that. They might still have to kind of do that, but then they're not worrying about what they're doing. They can turn their back on those kids knowing that I've got them and it's fine, and they're going to make those memories.
So what makes you different from similar businesses?
Quite a lot. lots of colour, lots of personality. I know that my industry is very male dominated, or was. I mean, you've either got sort of the old fashioned male dominated children's entertainers, or you've got the new trend of princess mascots. And it's very rare to have somebody like me. I mean, there are entertainers out there like me, and I've got a lovely friend that I work with who is very similar to me, but I think that helps me stand out. And I think parents might feel, I'm not saying all parents, but some parents might feel a bit more comfortable having a female entertainer. It's just the way it's a taboo maybe, or things that have happened in the past. And you know, I'm a mum, I'm relatable and full of personality, and I actually don't put on, like, it sounds really horrible because I'm not slating anyone else, but there's this entertainer's voice that comes with, you know, whatever it is, the training they get. And I don't have the training. I'm just me. So I'm lucky enough to just have that personality, and I turn it up a little bit. So it's a bit more like, obviously I'm not going to patronize you, Sharon, but it's a bit more like, hi guys, really annoying still, but it's still my natural voice. And I think mums especially can relate to that and go, actually, she's a mum herself, she knows what it's like, but she can still take control and play games and do magic. So there's a lot there that helps me stand out. I don't have an actual USP. It's just like any business, it's me. Which is sometimes the best thing, to be just you, and people buy from you because you give out right aura that they're looking for. Yeah, I think that when it was about 2 years into my business that I started to call myself Jelly Jade. It was called something else back then. And I remember thinking, I'm going to go whole hog with this. Like, it sounds narcissistic, but it is literally, Jelly Jade is my whole brand. It's all about me, except it isn't, if you know what I mean. So I wanted to kind of be, you got to remember my name, a household name, I suppose, in Essex. And where people go, yeah, I've heard that name, and I've heard she's good. And I've kind of hoped that I've got to that level. Maybe not the whole of Essex. I've definitely got to that in my area in Romford, but I'm still working on the whole taking over Essex. It's still quite heavily dominated by the male entertainers. Let's say that, which is fine. At the moment, you're saying that. You know, what can I do, you know? What do you like best about your work? Is it literally just rocking up to the party and just taking those kids and making their day? I kind of, well, I suppose there's two things. It's getting that booking. It's that nailing that sale. You know, they've had the inquiry, and I'm not for everybody, and that's fine. But it's when they say just take my money and they don't question it. That is quite thrilling to me. And then obviously when I turn up and it is, I suppose, the whole ideal client. You know, I finally found them, so there's no worries and there's no stress, and all I've got to worry about is doing a good job still, and then knowing that I've done that good job and getting that review. So it's kind of that kind of process that's the best thing for me, and kind of like they're the satisfied customer, so then I'm the satisfied business owner. I think a lot of people could probably relate to that.
Yeah. So you mentioned ideal client. Who is your ideal client?
So in terms of the kid, because it's kind of two, obviously the kids side of things, I only entertain for 4 to 7 years. So it's kind of primary school age. So it'll be mums then that have got kids at primary school, who are standing in the school playground, and they're, you know, chatting to each other and saying, oh, I've got to plan this party and I don't know where to start. And the other mums kind of maybe see me on Facebook or heard my name and gone, you know, you need to try Jade. I'll give you a number, or just Google her. And that's kind of my ideal customer. They're not kind of looking around, or, you know, they can look around and that's fine, but they kind of just go, yeah, well, I just want her, like she suits me down to a T. So I feel that I've nailed that in this business. It took a lot of work and a lot of trial and error, and I took a lot of bookings that I just did not enjoy. A lot of the younger ones, what I do in my show doesn't kind of work for like 1-year-olds or 2-year-olds, but I do still get quite a lot of those inquiries. And I say to them, as long as they've got older kids there, of course I'll come and do your first birthday party, as long as you know that, you know, 1-year-olds haven't got a clue what's going on. You know, some wacky person turned up in colours and stuff, and they're just staring at me. So I want them to understand that they got to get the most out of me and not just have me for the sake of it. And I feel, especially after the pandemic, I feel so many people are eager to book whatever they can get for the sake of having a party. And I'm trying to say to them, no, pick the right thing that's for you, because you're spending good money on it as well, you know, and it's got to be good, it's got to be right. So I'm not afraid to kind of say no to them. It's horrible to say no, but it's just pointing them in the right direction.
Yeah, I think people will appreciate that in the end, rather than you turning up and, like you said, their kids being so young, they're not going to understand it or interact with your set, if you like, what you're going to do.
Yeah.
So, and then it reflects badly on you, because they'll say, well, I didn't get what I asked for or whatever. So it's good that you've targeted enough.
Yeah.
And just concentrate on that age bracket, if you like, rather than saying you're someone that's going to suit everyone's needs.
Yeah, and I see that a lot when we get sort of recommended, does anyone know an entertainer on Facebook? You get all these tags, which is wonderful. You know, there's so many of us to choose from. It can be quite overwhelming, but there's a lot of things I see on there that get quite desperate. I'll do it. And it's kind of like, actually, that's not what she's asked for. Like they kind of don't read the post, and I kind of try and tie it in. I mean, if I do get tagged in like a 1-year-old party, I won't respond. If they want to get in touch with me, they can, and I'll message them, But I know my target audience, and I know, you know, I don't want to be, what's the word, where you feel like, you know, you're just doing it for the sake of it. And I'm going to start hating my business then and start going, oh, I really don't want to do this booking today. You know, that's not what I'm about. I want to get excited, you know.
Yeah.
And I think I've got kind of a nice balance with that.
Cool. So what would you say you like best about your work?
Oh, it's so difficult. I suppose the minute I've set up, I hate the setting up part. So if we're going to go down the route of what I don't like.
Okay, that was my next question, but that's fine. You tell me now.
Sorry, but I hate setting up because my stuff's quite heavy. And although I've got it to a point where I can't like make it any smaller or any less heavy, it's that whole, what am I turning up to? Am I turning up to, like yesterday, I had this house that was on the drive was up, but the house was down. So I had to go down this hill with all this heavy stuff. They did help me through the house. And then it was raining. And then we had stairs where I had to go up, down, and then down through to, honestly, to the gazebo. And by the time I'd actually put the equipment down, I was knackered. I was like, I haven't even started the party yet. And it was party number 1 and had 3 of the day.
No.
Yeah, so that to me is like, that kind of gives me a bit of anxiety, is the not knowing where I'm going.
Yep.
Like, am I going to find the place? And then when I get there, what am I, where am I going to set up? Once I've set up, then that's my favorite part. We're going to get started. The kids are raring to go. They're always quite a bit quiet, so I've got to warm them up a little bit. And then by the end, they're screaming, shouting, and they're really hyper, and their mums are hating me. But,
and that's when you leave.
Like, bye! Job here is done. And then on to the next one. So that's probably, it's a mixture of love and hate. It's all part and parcel of the job, and it can't all be great. But if I could just click my fingers and it's set up and I'm ready to go, then that would be ideal. It's kind of really hard at the moment where we're in people's houses and gardens. I kind of feel bad that I'm walking my wet shoes through the house, and I'm quite polite when I'm in people's homes. I'm kind of missing hall life. I never thought I'd say that, but being in a venue, you literally just open the door and away you go. But people's homes have got to be a bit more careful and a bit more apprehensive about it. But so it's kind of part and parcel. The love.
So what you need really is a roadie to come with you, set up.
You know what? My son's 15, so I was thinking about bringing him along, because then not only can he help me set up, but he can also then take some photos or do some social media on the job. So I'm thinking about it. He can be my roadie.
Definitely. Why not?
Slave labor. I'm not going to pay him.
Don't tell him that. So what would you say has been your biggest challenge to date?
Oh, well, I mean, pandemic. Hasn't it been for everyone? Maybe before that, I probably would have said something like growing the business. But the pandemic literally shut me down within, I did that last party. It was probably March the something, could have been the 14th. And it was shut down, cancel everything and close. And I think I was probably on Facebook crying or almost crying to my customers, saying, please don't cancel. Obviously it can't go ahead, but I can't give all these deposits back because I don't know, what to do. So, but what I did was obviously set up virtual parties, and I did story time sessions for that first week of lockdown. And I did go viral. I mean, I was entertaining in Scotland, down to Isle of Wight. It was insane, and it was amazing, but very challenging. I did, and I'm going to be honest here, I did not enjoy virtual parties at all. Obviously I didn't tell my customers that, but I kind of said to them it's not ideal and it's not kind of the same, and the interaction that I'm trying to get back through the screen is not the same as I'd get in real life. So I was honest and said to them it's not the same, but it will do, because what else could we have done to celebrate people's parties? So that's probably was my biggest challenge, but it did help me with the challenge before of trying to grow the business. I'm now in a really good place, touch wood, of looking to employ people and getting, growing that way. And it's hard to say whether I would have been in that position, because I was quite stubborn back then. I was quite I don't want to employ anyone. There's only me. Only I can be Jade. I don't trust anyone else. But actually the pandemic taught me to let go a little bit and just be a bit more it's fine. You just put things in place and away you go. You got to grow. Otherwise I'm just going to be just like this, and I want to be up here, So it's kind of a good challenge and a bad challenge.
Yeah, the pandemic certainly made us take a step back from our businesses and reevaluate where we were and where we want to go with it. Whereas before we was just, like I said, on this one track, just full steam ahead, doing the same thing day in, day out. And before we know it, the whole year's gone and we're still in the same position and nothing ever changed. But like I said, the pandemic, in one way, that is probably the only positive thing to come out of it, is that we had that time to reevaluate where we want to go with our businesses.
Yeah. And I definitely, I took it personally as well. I know that sounds ridiculous because we were literally all in it together, but I think I saw it as I had failed, and I don't like to be seen as a failure. And I know no one else was thinking that, but obviously what we think in our heads is completely, ridiculous. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I've let everyone down. I'm a failure. I'm going to close. I'm never going to get it back up again. And the more people were saying to me, you'll be fine when parties come back. You'll be buzzing. You'll be busy. And I was just like, yeah, but that's not now. And I nearly lost my car. I nearly lost a lot of things that I obviously depend on, but I couldn't do the work without my car and that sort of thing. And I was so close to like losing it all. So of course I took it personally, but I also didn't sit around and do nothing either. So I've learned a lot about myself. It has been one of those like eye openers, hasn't it? And I realized that I can cope with bad things, and I realized I can cope with having no money as well, because I didn't realize how money driven I was. It was constantly getting the numbers and getting the money and hitting my targets, when actually I was like, none of that matters. It doesn't matter. Like it does. It's all part of why we run a business. But I was just like, as I kind of realized that I wanted to be seen as the go-to person in my industry. And that was more important to me than money, which I didn't realize. So yeah, learned a lot, grown a lot. Yeah.
So what would you say has been the biggest achievement in your business to date?
Still being here. Coming out the other end, winning an award for best party provider. I'm a bit funny when it comes to awards, because I'm a bit like, they don't really mean anything. They make you feel good, but my audience doesn't care. So I'm not going to be shouting that I'm like the best party provider in Essex. But it was voted for by the public. So that's quite a big achievement to know that I'm hitting where I want to be, and you kind of know that you're on the right track. So they can be important. So that, and just, like I say, still being here really, like I'm almost in my I think I'm in my 9th year, 9 years in October. That's bizarre. Like I'm actually getting parties now where I had a guest come up to me the other day and she said, oh, you did my daughter's party. And I was like, oh, did you? And the daughter's standing next to me and she's like 9 or 10. And she's like, yeah, she was 2. I was like, oh my God, now I feel old. Like, have I really been doing it that long? And I couldn't get my head around how have I been doing it that long, that the child is now 9 or 10 and she's now too old for me to do her parties, So yeah, still being on the other side and still going is my biggest achievement.
So what would you say an average day in your business is like?
Oh, well, during the week, obviously I'm not entertaining. So I'm like today, Monday, I'm recovering from a really crazy weekend, enjoying the fact the kids are at school. So I do the school run, and on a Monday, I usually send out courtesy emails to say, thanks for booking me, hope everything went well. And I ask for a review, because that's really important. And just to check that everything was all right, or I need to know that I've done a good job. Then I'll start doing, obviously, probably social media marketing, my content, and sending out invoices for the next weekend. That obviously pre-pandemic, that was constant, but at the moment it's like on and off. Like next weekend, I've got one big event. I'll probably clean my kit as well, redo everything, reset it, charge everything, charge my speaker, and then the rest of the week will just be taking inquiries, and then working on my other business as well. Yeah, so it's kind of juggling it all, but I work part-time as well, so it's kind of nice, because the party business does sort itself out. It kind of works in the background for me, so I'm kind of lucky there, which means that I can run another business and go to work too.
So you mentioned your other business. So come on, tell us, what is your other business and what do you do?
So that's called Socially by Jade. So because of the party business, I had grown so much on social media and taught myself how to be remembered on social media so that people can recommend me. And because I was so good at it, I can say that now, I decided to teach other people how to do it. So I was teaching, other small businesses like myself, mostly service-based, how to grow on social media, Facebook and Instagram mostly. And then I niched down to being a content strategist. So showing other small businesses how to make content that's going to stop people scrolling and reading it so that they become remembered, because that's kind of how I grew my party business. But again, I'm changing that business to I'm changing my niche. So although it still be for small businesses, I'm focusing on the party industry. So entertainers, magicians, DJs, photographers at events, that sort of thing, because it makes total sense to help the people in my industry rather than being really generic. So that's coming up. It's quite exciting.
Cool. Really exciting times ahead then. Now you're narrowing down, like you said, you're an expert in both areas. So sharing that knowledge with other people in those areas, especially after the pandemic, and they're probably thinking, well, how am I going to build my business back up? This would be ideal for them.
Yeah, I think the entertainment industry was obviously the same as arts and hospitality, got hit the worst. And although I'm in a lucky position to have all these bookings and inquiries, there's a lot of people that don't have that, whether that's down to them still not being on social. Like I know a few people that literally closed, didn't do anything, and have opened back up again. And I'm like, oh, I forgot about you. And if I'm thinking that, their audience are as well, whereas my audience kind of remember me because I'm on there all the time. And it's just trying to show them that you can have it both ways. And I don't mean I sit on like Facebook all day long. As we know, there's systems in place, but it's just about showing them that now that they're back out there, and of course it's going to go crazy, all being well, that all restrictions are lifted and stuff, that you can become an expert in your field without trying too hard. You're going to have to put the work in, but it will pay off in the end. Yeah.
So in terms of your party business, what types of marketing have you used in the past and they haven't worked, and what really works for you now? Obviously, you've mentioned social media.
Massively. Things that haven't worked, I would probably say, and still trying to work at it, a Facebook group for my audience is quite difficult. It sounds obvious. It's like, well, you just get, all the mums into your group and talk about parties. But I don't think mums have time for that. It's another Facebook group. It's still what's in it for them. I've tried a party group where there's what happens is I thought in my head that I would have a group where I'd have lots of other party people in there, balloon people, cake makers, that sort of thing. And parents can just come in and ask for what they want and plan their party that way. But there's so many other groups like that anyway, with a much bigger audience that's got mums and all those businesses in, that it works for those. And it doesn't quite work for me. So I find Facebook groups for this particular business is quite hard, and you've really got to, I'm still working on tapping into that and seeing how it works. And also email marketing for the party business has been a struggle too. It used to work really, really well back in the day, and I used to send out party tips and all sorts of things. But I think with parties, they're not all the time, are they? They're like once a year. So what is it I'm giving that person in their email box? It still might be good value, but they don't need it until they're then thinking about their next party or their next event. So they're the two things I kind of struggled with and still working at, and still trying to figure out how I can, fit them in, because I believe in both of them. I think we all need a Facebook group and we all need a mailing list, but it's not quite working for me just yet, if I'm going to be honest.
So how do you plan to grow your business, say, in the next 6 months?
Well, I'm hoping that, so in my head, September's coming, and the school, I know we haven't even had summer holidays yet, but the schools will go back to school, and everyone, all being well with lockdown and restrictions, and I am hoping and praying that it's going to go a bit crazy. People, pre-pandemic, mums were thinking, kids gone back to school, and now got a plan for Halloween, Christmas. It gets really busy. The kids that start school when they're 4 have got new friends, so they want, that big party. And I'm hoping it will go back to that, but bigger. So I'm putting things in place now, whilst it's busy, but it's quiet, to prepare for that. I hope I'm not being too ahead of myself, but I think we've got to work like that.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to get my mum to work for me because she doesn't have a job and she's struggling a little bit at home. So I was just like, well, why don't you come and be my VA? She doesn't know what a VA is, so that was funny. So I was explaining to her what that was. So she's going to do all my admin and take it off me. And I'm also not employing, but like working with and collaborating with another entertainer, but she specializes in dance classes. You might know her, but I won't say it just in case it doesn't go ahead as well. I'll probably say too much, but we're hoping to collaborate so I can offer extra packages, and then when I'm fully booked and can't do certain dates and stuff, she's going to take over. So that's kind of where I'm hoping to grow. It's quite scary, actually, because I've never done anything like that before, like employing anyone or having extra people around me. It's kind of a big responsibility, isn't it? But I'm just getting all the things in place now. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's going to happen hopefully in September time.
Yeah.
So we'll look out for your posts and stuff then.
Absolutely.
So if there was one piece of advice that you would give to someone starting a business similar to yours, what would it be?
It would be invest in yourself as soon as you can. Like, I didn't invest in myself until 2 years on because of money, and that's probably one of the biggest reasons why we don't invest in ourselves or our business, because we're like, well, I can't afford it. I need to make money to speculate, to accumulate. But if I went back and told myself to invest, it would be the biggest thing you could do, because I wasted time. I wasted 2 years of, like, I don't even know what I was doing, just winging it, I suppose, which is what we all do. But I would say to somebody that it doesn't have to be a massive investment. It could be reading a business book, or it could be collaborating with someone, or it could be buying a £20 course that's going to help you nail reels on Instagram, or whatever it might be. You have to constantly learn and grow. But the quicker you do that, the quicker you can grow, and the quicker, because I'm only starting to grow now. That's like 9 years on. I literally was stagnant this whole time, pandemic or no pandemic. And it's kind of like, I wish I'd done it a bit sooner. I'm not saying rush it, but there's so much you learn from investing in yourself. So much.
Definitely. So is there anything else that you'd like to share today that we haven't talked about?
I don't know. I'm going to check my sheet. I don't know. We've covered quite a lot. But I think I've got everything out there. Hold on. I'm gonna feel the quietness. Yeah. No, because you asked me that. No, I think that's kind of it, really. Or maybe just the one thing I'd like viewers to take away.
That's my next question.
Oh, there we go. So, yeah.
You're a mind reader as well. Is that another service you could offer?
I think I'll put that as another party package. All right, I'll answer it. You can ask me if you want. But yeah, I think watching things like this inspires people. So I hope to inspire other small businesses to show them that you can, it's really cliche, but you can get through anything. You're going to have your really bad days where there's either no sales, or you want to give up, or you just can't do it anymore. But those are the days, oh God, I sound like a guru, don't I? Those are the days that something bigger and better is going to come along. So when I'm not perfect and I still have really awful days. I might have an awful week coming up. I hope I don't. But I might have days where I just feel like I can't do this anymore. But I know that that's when I need to change something. It might be my mindset. It might be a package. It might be even down to like copy on my social media, whatever it might be. Something bigger and better is going to come along. And I think we have to have those days to keep going. So I hope that I can inspire people to keep going and don't give up. Oh, it sounds really sicky.
It's excellent advice, though. A lot of us, especially since the pandemic, we've all had down days or down weeks or even down months. And we think, well, how are we going to get through this? But it is a case of just sitting back, breathing, and just take some time out even, and just reevaluate what you're doing. And then, like you said, your better ideas and better days are going to come. So
100%. I think that's what got me through the year. It was because I don't cope very well with change, and we've had the biggest change ever. So I could feel the anxiety still talking about it. But it was literally, I had to take stock and I sat back. And if I wanted to binge watch Netflix, then I did and didn't feel guilty about it. I think we get quite in our heads about that. Like, oh, I shouldn't sit and watch anything because I'm meant to be working, or I'm meant to be dealing with the kids and homeschooling. And it's kind of like, actually, if you can do something for you, then you'll be able to manage everything else a bit better. You know, and that's what got me through a lot of stuff last year. So, and I still use those, I call them, they are skill. It is a skill because it's a mindset thing, isn't it? Yeah. And I had to teach and train myself, even on days where I could not be bothered. And I know I'll still get days where I'm like, oh, sod that. Like, I'm just going to wallow in it. But you come out of it, you know, and it's how you deal with it that's going to get you through. God, I sound really sicky. It's so true, though. So true.
It is. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching today. Remember, if you are watching on replay, please do #replay. And if you do have any questions, please do ask Jade in the comments. I'm just going to put her website up now. So it's all the W's, partywithjellyjade.co.uk.
Sorry, I wanted to do that.
If you are looking for an awesome party entertainer for children aged 4 to 7, please do get in touch with Jade and get your date booked sooner rather than later, because I know she's a lady in demand. Do also watch out if you are in the industry to speak with her about her social media business as well, where she can help you moving forwards. Thank you very much, Jade, for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed our little chat. And I believe this is actually my last Biz'ee chat before the summer, so we're ending on a high. Please do contact Jelly Jade, like I said. I call you Jelly Jade, see, rather than just Jade.
Yeah, that's right.
It's stuck. You've got your brand now, so there we go.
Yeah, I've been called worse as well.
I won't do that on live.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And like I said, if you do have any questions, please do #replay and ask Jade or contact her via her website. Thanks very much, Jade.
Thanks.
Take care.